Welcome, everybody, to the Sunday edition of the Huddle Hub Podcast. My name is Metal Mike, and today we are going to talk about all the news coming out of the world of football. A lot of news coming out of the NFL to talk about. Now, you're probably thinking, what do you mean? There's not much coming out. There's stuff to talk about today, which is great because Tuesday, we didn't have much. The Tuesday edition, we did not have a lot to talk about. And we got a lot to talk about today, which is amazing. We also got the UFL to talk about. Week 10 is underway, and the playoff picture, as far as teams, are set. So we're going to talk about that. Before we do, make sure you head over to the Huddle Hub Podcast over on social media, TikTok, Instagram, X, and on Epic Studios at the Huddle Hub Pod. You're going to hit that follow button. Over on the YouTube, you're going to hit that subscribe button. That's how you follow on the YouTube. And, of course, on Twitch, you hit follow as well. All of our social media links are in the Twitch bio. You just click on the one that you desire to go to, because I know not everybody uses every social media outlet, and help us build the Huddle Hub Podcast through the rest of the 2026 NFL offseason and beyond. So on Tuesday, we didn't have a lot to talk about. There was not much to talk about. And, we did our first ever player spotlight segment. This Tuesday, depending on how much news we have, we'll be doing player spotlight number 2. Now, I don't want to announce yet who the player spotlight is. I want it to kind of be a surprise because it was a fun segment to do. Now, I announced that the first one was Aaron Rodgers because I figured, hey, you know what? Who better than Aaron Rodgers? Who better than any player to do than Aaron Rodgers because of the career he's had? This is season number 22 for him. And even though he's only raised one Lombardi trophy in his career, he still has had a Hall of Fame career. And with him announcing this being his final season, I felt it was fitting for the player spotlight to be him in the first player spotlight segment. So, yeah. We're going to get into the news because we got a bunch. But before we do, let's get into the UFL. The playoff race is heating up. Well, it's heated up. And the playoff race is basically over now. Playoff teams are set. And they were set as of yesterday afternoon. Now, going into week 10, the Orlando Storm, St. Louis Battlehawks, and DC Defenders all clinched playoff spots going into week 10. Those are the three teams that had playoff spots. Week 10, we had two teams battling for that final playoff spot, and that was the Louisville Kings and the Birmingham Stallions. Now, first game that happened on Friday night was the 6-3 St. Louis Battlehawks taking on the 3-6 Dallas Renegades. Battlehawks already clinching the playoffs, so even if they lost, it did not matter, and that's what they did. They ended up losing 20-16 to the Dallas Renegades. Dallas Renegades snapping a 6-game losing streak. The Dallas Renegades, who started off the hottest this season at 3-0, undefeated, playoff bound. It looked like they were going to be one of the teams to beat this year, went on a 6-game losing streak, and they snapped it yet on Friday night against the St. Louis Battlehawks, 20-16. Some of the stats coming out of that game. First off, Austin Reed, quarterback of the Dallas Renegades, 15-26, 162 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, a 57.7 completion percentage with 114.6 QB rating. And then Tyler Vaughn came in and had 1 attempt, no yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, no completion percentage, 39.6 rating. So I don't know what that's. I believe that was a run that he did. So for the St. Louis Battlehawks, Luis Perez, 18 of 29, 272 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 62.1 completion percentage, 75.6 QB rating. Not bad for Luis Perez in the loss, but the Dallas Renegades snapping their 6-game losing streak. Snapping their 6-game losing streak. Moving to 4-6. What the heck? I thought I fixed this. Huh. That's odd. I did. I know I fixed this. I'm sorry. Let me fix something quick. Oh, man. I don't know how that happened because I swore that I fixed this on Friday night after the game, and apparently it didn't. But okay, there we go. Yeah, Dallas Renegades defeated the St. Louis Battlehawks 20-16. And it's not finals, it's finals. See, this is the stuff that I go through when it comes to putting something together. And I thought it stuck. So there we go. Okay. Dallas Renegades defeat the 4-6 Dallas Renegades defeat the 6-4 St. Louis Battlehawks 20-16. So the Dallas Renegades snapping that 6-game losing streak to end the season at 4-6. And the St. Louis Battlehawks are going in to the playoffs. Going into the playoffs, coming off a loss. On Saturday's matchup, the Birmingham Stallions battling for a playoff spot, taking on the Houston Gamblers. Gamblers were 3-6 going into this game. The Birmingham Stallions were 4-5. Now, what needed to happen was the Birmingham Stallions, they needed to win, and they needed the Louisville Kings to lose today in order to make the playoffs. Because the Stallions had the head-to-head against the Kings. So the Stallions needed to win, and they needed the Kings to lose today in order to make the playoffs. But the Stallions couldn't get the job done. They ended up falling to the Houston Gamblers 26-13. The Houston Gamblers finish at 4-6. Stallions also 4-6. Some statistics from the quarterbacks. Houston Gamblers, John Rice Plumlee, 11-23, 119 yards, no touchdowns, one interception, 47.8 completion percentage with a 45.4 rating. Dorian Thompson-Robinson for the Stallions, 13-27, 112 yards, one touchdown, no interceptions, 48.1 completion percentage with a 71.8 rating. Rough for the Birmingham Stallions. You're in the playoff race. You need to win and give yourself a chance for Sunday to stay alive in the playoff race, and they couldn't do it. All you need to do is go out and win against a team that obviously was having a rough time all season. So the Birmingham Stallions officially eliminated from playoff contention, and that gives the Louisville Kings the final playoff spot before they even play. Kings don't have anything to worry about. They can lose today if they even wanted to, and they're in. They can finish 5-5 if they wanted to, and they're already in. So 2 games today, starting at noontime in about 40 minutes. We got the 7-2 Orlando Storm taking on the 5-4 DC Defenders in a very much anticipated matchup. I said it myself. I was very hyped for this matchup this weekend. These two teams just, for some reason, these two teams were the teams that caught my eye this year. The Orlando Storm and the DC Defenders. So this is a much anticipated matchup. Kickoff in about 40 minutes over on ABC. And then at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight, the Louisville Kings, the 5-4 Louisville Kings, taking on the 3-6 Columbus Aviators. And the Louisville Kings, like I said, they already clinched the playoff spot due to the fact that the Stallions lost last night. So it's pretty much comes down to seeding at this point. Now, the way it looks, when you look at how things are, okay, you got the Orlando Storm, who are 7-2. So they're going to be definitely the first place team. Okay, they're going to be the team in first place. It all matters about 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now the St. Louis Battlehawks, they already won their 6-4. So as far as seeding, and we're going to look at the head-to-head matchups, because we got to see if St. Louis lost to the Kings or the Defenders. St. Louis Battlehawks, that's the Stallions, Battlehawks. So the Battlehawks ended up losing to the Defenders. So the DC Defenders, if they win, then the Defenders can end up taking the second spot for the Battlehawks. Okay? So if they finish with the same record, the Defenders can move up to second place, I believe. Because Battlehawks Storm, that don't matter. Battlehawks and Kings. Battlehawks have the head-to-head against the Kings. Yeah. So the Battlehawks have the head-to-head against the Kings, and they have the head-to-head against or they don't have the head-to-head against DC Defenders. I think the Defenders ended up defeating them. Yeah. So the Defenders ended up beating the Battlehawks. But the Battlehawks have the head-to-head against the Kings. So if the Defenders win today against Orlando, then DC can move up to second place, and the Battlehawks will move to 3, and the Kings will move to 4. That's how it would be. And that's if the DC Defenders win today. If the DC Defenders lose, and let's say the Louisville Kings win, Defenders would be 5-5, Kings would be 6-4, Battlehawks would be 6-4. Then everything would stay the way it is now. Orlando Storm 1, Battlehawks 2, Kings 3, Defenders 4. So not too much changing around that has to happen in order for the seeding, but there is some changing around that could occur. So we'll have to keep our eye on the playoff seeding race and see what happens. As far as the UFL pick challenge, the first 2 games this week were added in. I'm 19-19. John is 21-17. So 2 games left in the regular season. We both picked the same teams. So therefore, we are going to finish 2 games apart from the regular season. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, John probably won then. No, he did not win yet. He did not win the pick challenge yet. We are adding the playoffs. Now, there are 3 matchups in the playoffs, two first-round matchups next week, and then the championship the following week. There's 3 playoff games, okay? I'm only 2 games back. So how we're going to do this is we are going to flip a coin, and whoever wins the coin toss gets to pick their 2 teams for the first 2 playoff matchups, and the other person has to take the opposite teams. Okay? So even I basically would need to win one of the 2 matchups next week. One of the 2 matchups next week. Well, if I win one, then that brings me back into 1, and then if he wins, that takes me back to 2. So no, I need to sweep next week. I need to sweep next week in order to go into the championship round and have a chance to win the pick challenge. So it'd be pretty awesome if it came down to the championship round for the pick challenge. That'd be pretty cool. So, all right, we're gonna get into the news coming out of the world of football. But before we do, we're going to take about a 30 to 45 second break here on the Huddle Hub Podcast. We'll be right back after this. All right. All right, guys. Make sure you're heading over to the Huddle Hub podcast over on social media after the show today and hitting that follow and subscribe button. The follow button over on TikTok, X, Instagram, and on Epic Studios. And on the YouTube, you're going to hit that subscribe button. That's how you're going to follow on the YouTube and, of course, on the Twitch channel as well. All of our social media links are in the Twitch bio. You're just going to click on the one you desire to go to and help us build the Huddle Hub podcast through the rest of the 2026 NFL offseason and beyond. All right. So we're going to get into the news because we got some news to talk about. Tuesday, we didn't have anything. We had nothing on Tuesday. And then out of nowhere, a bunch of news starts coming out. So it's great to actually have some news to talk about today. So, so let's get into the first thing, and that is Derwin James, safety of the Los Angeles Chargers, for the second time in his career, is the highest paid safety in league history. He got a 3-year, $25.2 million per year extension. This is huge. Derwin James, one of the best safeties in football, and ends up getting an extension with the Los Angeles Chargers, another 3 years. So he's going to be there through the year of 2030. $25.2 million per year, which is a great contract, making him the highest paid safety for the second time in his career. And that's a pretty good feat for a player, because you have that, sometimes you get that one time that you're the highest paid player in league history in your position. Okay. You don't really hear a lot of players get to do it twice, 3 times, anything like that. Derwin James, now 2 times the highest paid safety in league history. So congratulations to Derwin James. And to the Los Angeles Chargers for getting to keep one of the best safeties in football on their roster. So Josh Jacobs, running back of the Packers, he was arrested on Tuesday afternoon for 4 counts of assault charges, including pretty much. I'm trying to put this in the right word. Okay. So, anyways, Josh Jacobs, running back of the Packers, he was arrested on Tuesday for 4 counts of assault. One of them included strangulation, which is not good at all. I mean, all this, obviously, he's, innocent until proven guilty. These are all allegations. He pleaded not guilty, and his attorney forwarded that to the attorney, or the judge of his case. His bail was $1,350, and he was out on Wednesday already. So right now, Josh Jacobs, things are looking a little rough for him right now dealing with this. We're going to follow this story as things start coming out about it. Things have been pretty quiet since Wednesday morning about all this. So, there's not too much to report on, other than he's being, he got allegations of 4 counts of assault right now. So, kicker, former, oh my gosh, I can't speak. Kicker Young Hoku has signed a contract with the New York Jets. Now, we're not sure on how big this contract is, what the details are on it. All we know is that he signed with the New York Jets, so he will be kicking for the New York Jets. I'm trying to see if there's any contract details right now on this. So it looks like it's a 1-year deal worth $1.3 million is what it is. I believe that's what it is here. 2026, yeah. So it looks like it's a like a $1.3 million contract. Young Hoku, former kicker of the Atlanta Falcons. He is now going to be kicking for the Jets. So there you go. Young Hoku, he has kicked for a couple teams already. One team that he's very known for is the Atlanta Falcons. So, linebacker Von Miller, he said that he will be, he is claiming that Jesus. Linebacker Von Miller, he said this week that he guarantees that he will be on a roster in 2026. He's currently lobbying to sign with the Broncos, the team that he started his career with, but he is claiming that he will be a part of a roster in 2026. And if it's not the Broncos, it is yet to be known which team he is going to be a part of, obviously. But yeah, Von Miller is claiming that he will be on a roster in 2026. So we'll have to keep an eye out for Von Miller, see if he ends up on a roster, see if he ends up back with the Broncos. Left tackle Andrew Thompson of the Giants, he restructured his contract, creating $6.46 million in cap space for the Giants. This is a pretty good move for the Giants because even if you open up $6 million in cap space, that's $6 million that you can go sign a player. We noticed this offseason that a lot of players were signing these small contracts, like 1 year, $4 million, 1 year, $5 million. And you're thinking, hold on, this is a big time player. Why are they signing this small contract? They should be getting bigger contracts. Teams should be signing them longer with bigger contracts. Well, because teams are being very careful with the cap space that they have this year, knowing that in 2027, the cap space is going to go up. So they're signing the small contracts now. And then once the cap space kicks in 2027, they can sign them to a longer term with more money. So, if you have a player that signed with your team that you liked and you're wondering why the team did not sign them for a longer deal, knowing that they deserve it, that's the reason why. So don't get upset about it. Give it time because there's a chance that the player can get a longer contract for more money in 2027. So wide receiver of the Dallas Cowboys, Paris Campbell, he was added to the retirement list. He announced that he is going to be retiring, and he's added onto the retirement list. Now, we've seen a couple players last year add themselves to the retirement list, and then I believe one or two of them came off the retirement list last year. I think what this is more so of players saying, hey, like, I don't know what I want to do this year. I don't know if I want to continue playing football, anything like that. And you have a lot of players that don't want to go through training camp, but are ready for the regular season. And we see this all the time. So this could be a way for him to say, hey, I'm not going to go through training camp. And I know I got to be added onto this list, but I'm going to be ready for the regular season. So Paris Campbell right now retired, but yeah, who knows if he's going to play this year or not. He was added onto that retirement list. So, I'm trying to do some of this stuff in certain orders here. Edge rusher of the San Francisco 49ers, Nick Bosa. He was asked about his he had to get surgery during this offseason, and he was asked about his recovery. He said he's doing great. But he was also asked about brother Joey. And he said that his brother Joey, right now, he doesn't think he's thinking too much about football. And playing football right now. So Joey Bosa, who is one of the top free agents, edge rushing free. Let me start that over because I might want to clip that. Edge rusher of the San Francisco 49ers, Nick Bosa. He was asked by the media how he was feeling after having off-season surgery. He said he's doing great. He's on track. He's going to be back for week 1 of the 2026 NFL season. But then he was asked about brother Joey Bosa. Now, as we know, Joey Bosa last year played for the Buffalo Bills, became a free agent this offseason, and was one of the top free agent edge rushers out there. Well, he hasn't signed with anybody yet, but Nick Bosa mentioned that his brother Joey, he doesn't think is even thinking about football at this moment. So is Joey Bosa retired, or is he just waiting for training camp to happen or training camp to be over and then plan on signing with a team before the season kicks off? Now, we went down the top free agents list last week, And I'd mentioned that I think Joey Bosa ends up signing with the San Francisco 49ers to play with brother Nick. And that's what the consensus is right now. A lot of talk about these two guys, the brothers being on the same team finally. So we got to keep an eye out to see if Joey Bosa actually signs with the 49ers or any team at this matter, or if he is fully done with football. The New York Giants, man, have they been having a rough OTAs. 3 players this week went down with torn Achilles. Gunnar Olszewski, wide receiver and kick returner. Roy Robertson Harris, a defensive lineman, and Thaddeus Dixon, he's a cornerback, have all torn their Achilles. Now, Gunnar Olszewski, he was going through more testing this week to see the severities of his injury, but it looks like these guys are going to be out for a while. And this all happened during OTAs. And people question all the time, like, why aren't these guys doing this or that or anything like that at this time of the year during practice and blah, 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 blah. It's because of player safety, and they want to make sure that they are on the field for the season. And as you see, even at OTAs, when there's no contact and they're in shorts and T-shirts and helmets, and sometimes not even helmets, they're still getting hurt. So, yeah. The Minnesota Vikings, they have gone out and gotten themselves a general manager finally. They signed Nolan Teasley. Nolan Teasley is the former assistant general manager for the Seattle Seahawks. So he is now the new general manager in Minnesota. So I'm trying to get some of these stories out here that could be clipped. So all right, we got 3 more things to talk about. Number 1, wide receiver of the Buffalo Bills, Keon Coleman. It was reported that a couple teams have actually called Buffalo offering trades for Keon Coleman, and the Buffalo Bills declined them. Now, obviously, Keon Coleman, we've seen a lot of players not have big seasons last year. And I believe Keon Coleman was one of them. He just did not have the biggest season last year. Last year was a weird year. It was. And we talked about that here all year last year. Now, Keon Coleman, 38 catches, 404 yards, and 4 touchdowns last year. That was rough. That's rough. Not a good year. And teams are, calling, thinking, okay, maybe we inquire for him. Maybe Buffalo wants to move on from him after having a bad year. But no, Buffalo has plans, big plans, and they include Keon Coleman. So Keon Coleman not going anywhere, and the Buffalo Bills will not be trading him anytime soon. So, all right, we're going to shift our attention. As we know, it is May 31st, which means we are getting close to a certain situation that we're going to talk about, and that's why I wanted to make this the last thing to talk about. But before that, running back of the Philadelphia Eagles, Saquon Barkley, he reacted to he reached out to former NFL running back Todd Gurley for bounce back advice after a not so great 2025 season. We know that Saquon Barkley didn't have the greatest 2025 season. It was a rough year, and again, it was a weird year. I mean, did you think at the beginning of the year we were going to see the Seahawks and Patriots in the Super Bowl? Sam Darnold lead the Seahawks to a Super Bowl? No, but it happened. Okay? It was a weird year in 2025, and with weird years come weird, consequences, everything. And Saquon Barkley had a very rough year in 2025, and was looking to bounce back from it. Especially after in 2024 having that big over 2,000 yards rushing season, 2,005 yard rushing season to be exact. He had 1,140 rushing yards last year. So that's almost 1,000 yards that he did not gain from the previous year. And he only had 7 touchdowns. Now, the last time he had, in 2023, he had 6 touchdowns. But before that, in 2021, he only had 2. So his third season with single-digit touchdowns. And it's only his second time? No. 1, 2, 3, fourth time that he got over fifth time he got over 1,000 yards rushing. So he's looking to bounce back, and he knows the team that the Philadelphia Eagles have, and he knows that he can come close to that 2024 season. And he also mentioned that the way the offense is going to be run this year, that we should see him have something like that 2024 season. So the anticipation is high, and he reached out to Todd Gurley to get that advice. Todd Gurley was one of the good running backs at the time he was in Los Angeles with the Rams. Todd Gurley was a hell of a running back. So a great player to go out and reach out to get this advice. I like hearing this. And being an Eagles fan myself, I'm glad that Saquon is trying to get himself back to where he was in 2024. Because he's got the team to do something like that. So there we go. There's a top 8 teams list of teams that could dethrone the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. Yes, this list came out yesterday, and here are the 8 teams that they think could dethrone the Seattle Seahawks. At number 8, the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs, they went 6-11 last year. Didn't make the playoffs for the first time in 8 years? You got to think Patrick Mahomes came in, and the Chiefs were consistent to the playoffs. And even beforehand, Alex Smith took the Chiefs to the playoffs. So the Chiefs, for the first time in, I think it was 10 years, actually, that they did not make the playoffs. So they have a plus 1,500 chance to dethrone the Seattle Seahawks. The Detroit Lions at number 7 have a plus 1,800. They went 9-8, did not make the playoffs last year. And I said this to somebody. I said, if the Green Bay Packers didn't tie, the Lions would have been in the playoffs. Lions would have been in the playoffs. But because of that tie that the Packers had with the Cowboys, that they treated it like a win, and the Packers made the playoffs, which, they need to get rid of the ties. It needs to go. It's ruining things, because the Lions should have been in the playoffs last year. The Broncos are at number 6 with a plus 2,000. They lost the AFC title game last year. As we know, Bo Nix went down in the divisional round of the playoffs right at the end of the game, and did not play in the AFC title game. Patriots beat the Broncos. Patriots go into the Super Bowl. Patriots lose to the Seahawks. So Broncos have a plus 2,000 opportunity. At number 5, the San Francisco 49ers have a plus 1,700. They went 12-5 and lost in the divisional round to the champions, to the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. So the Philadelphia Eagles are at number 4 with a plus 1,500. They lost in the wild card round to the San Francisco 49ers. So at number 3, the Buffalo Bills have a plus 1,000. They lost in the divisional round last year to the Denver Broncos. At number 2, the Baltimore Ravens have a plus 1,000. They did not make the playoffs. As we know, they lost in Week 18 to the Pittsburgh Steelers on a last-second field goal to get the Steelers into the playoffs, and the Ravens sent home. And at number 1, the Los Angeles Rams have a plus 800, and they lost in the NFC title game to the Seattle Seahawks last year. So there's your top 8 teams list that could dethrone the Seattle Seahawks: Rams, Ravens, Bills, Eagles, Niners, Broncos, Lions, and Chiefs. So there you go. So as we know, tomorrow is June 1st. Now, it's been a very interesting time if you're an Eagles fan, like myself, with all of the rumors coming out that wide receiver A.J. Brown is being traded post-June 1st, because if the Eagles wait until June 1st, then they save $40 million in cap space. The team being rumored that he would be going to is the New England Patriots. Okay? Now, over the weekend, more trade rumors have emerged. And I'm not talking about A.J. Brown to the New England Patriots. Another team is now involved in this whole trade rumor thing. Okay? Now, there have been other reports that the Kansas City Chiefs, San Francisco 49ers, Jacksonville Jaguars have all acquired about A.J. Brown. But Howie Roseman is looking for the perfect package deal because you're trading away a player like A.J. Brown, right? One of the greatest wide receivers in the league, right now. Arguably. Yes, he had a rough year last year. We all know why. But the man is a hell of a football player. And he's a game changer. So Howie Roseman knows that. But the problem is that A.J. Brown wants out of Philadelphia. So he's got to get the right package deal. Because when you look at the contract right now of A.J. Brown, 3 years, $96 million, $84 million guaranteed. And that's what the post-June 1st thing is about. We get past today. Tomorrow they save $40 million in cap space. Simple as that. But another team emerged in this trade talk, and that is the Cleveland Browns. As we know, Myles Garrett, his contract got reworked during this offseason. And there's now talk about Philly and Cleveland, player for player with some draft picks being involved there. So we could end up seeing come June 1st, tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon, that the Philadelphia Eagles and the Cleveland Browns could make a blockbuster trade involving Myles Garrett, A.J. Brown, and some future draft picks. So it's not a set thing that the New England Patriots are the team that A.J. Brown is going to. Now, when you look at it, Myles Garrett, his contract, 4 years, $160 million, $123 guaranteed. Okay? That's the contracts. Now, there's also talk about draft picks being involved. And I'm talking first-round draft picks. Now, Howie Roseman, he wants first-rounders back. You think A.J. Brown is a much younger player. Myles Garrett is in his 30s now. I believe he's 30 or 31 years old now. So A.J. Brown is still a much younger player. So Philadelphia would end up getting the better end of the draft pick situation. Plus, with Myles Garrett's contract, Philly's going to have to take care of Myles Garrett. But when you look at the future draft picks, Philadelphia has 2 first-rounders in 2026, their own, and the Green Bay Packers. They have a second-rounder, 3 third-rounders, 2 of their own, and 1 of the Jets. 2 fourth-rounders, 2 fifth-rounders, both their own. 6th round, they have 3. They have 2 of their own in the Houston Texans. And then in the 7th round, they have 4. They have their own, 2 from the Rams, and 1 from the Texans. In 2027, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th round, all of their own. 6th round, their own, and a Green Bay Packers. 7th, their own, a Rams, and a Vikings. And then in 2028, all of their own. 1 per round. Okay? Now, with the Cleveland Browns, you look at their draft picks in 2026, 3 first-rounders, their own, 1 from the Kansas City Chiefs, and 1 from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Then in the 2nd round, they have 2 picks, their own, and 1 from the 49ers. In the 3rd round, they have 2 picks, their own, and the Los Angeles Chargers. In the 4th round, they have 1. 5th round, they have 3, their own, Broncos, Bengals. In the 6th round, they have 2, their own, and the Jets. And in the 7th round, they have 2, their own, and the Seattle Seahawks. So the Cleveland Browns have a hell of a lot of draft picks in 2026 alone. Okay, they have, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12. They have 15 draft picks in 2026. 15. They could build an offense. They could build a defense if they wanted to, just from the draft. 11 players, 15 players. There you go. In 2027, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, they have 1. 5th round, they have 2, their own in the Texans. 6th round, they have 1. 7th round, they have 2, their own in the Texans. And in 2028, they have 1 per round, and that's their own. So a lot involving the first round draft picks of being traded. So ultimately, we look at it come June 1st, we know A.J. Brown is going to be traded. The question is as to who. And we're going to have to keep our eye on that. I mean, this trade deal can happen as soon as midnight tonight because it will be June 1st. Now, I don't know if there's a time consideration on it. I don't know if, they have to wait until a certain time in order for the day to be official. I believe they would be able to make a move at midnight tonight, 12:01, when it turns June 1st. So we'll have to keep our eye on that. Because tomorrow's going to be a very, very interesting day when it comes to A.J. Brown being traded. So, but that's it for the news, guys. That's all we got. And that's all I got for you today. We're going to get out of here. We'll be back here on Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for another edition of the Huddle Hub Podcast. Make sure you're going over to the Huddle Hub Podcast and following on social media on Instagram or on TikTok, Instagram, X, and on Epic Studios at the Huddle Hub Pod. You hit that follow button. Over on the YouTube, you hit the subscribe button. And over on the Twitch channel, you hit the follow button. Make sure all of our social media links are in the Twitch bio. Just make sure you click on the one that you desire to go to and help us build the Huddle Hub Podcast through the rest of the 2026 NFL offseason and UFL playoffs and beyond. You want to follow me on social media? You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and X at MetalLake714. That's where you can find me. Other than that, guys, that's all I got. I'm going to get out of here. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy the final 2 games of the UFL regular season. Be good to each other. Be kind to each other. Take care of each other. Be patient with each other. Remember, the world is not moving as fast as you think. Until Tuesday afternoon, guys, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you Tuesday. Deuces.